It's now my honor to introduce Mikah Meyer. Mikah is, he's been called a lot of things. For instance, he's been called, an emerging leader in the outdoor industry sector. Somebody's out there in the world talking about the outdoors and the importance of parks. He's also been called a very sexy travel guru. That's something else that he's been called. But what he's known for in our world, as much as anything, is in April 29th, 2016, during the centennial of national parks, Mikah set on a quest that took him 3 years, and he visited every one of the 419 units in the national park system. So Mikah did this excursion, but in the process he also just opened people's minds that parks are for everybody, and including somebody who is part of this community. And so it's a great thing for him to promote the parks in his world as other people do in their world. So Mikah, thank you for being here.
Thank you, it's a pleasure to be here. Last time I was at Stonewall, I drove a large white windowless cargo van here, which is not fun in Manhattan, because I was living in that van for 3 years as I did this journey and attempted to become the sole person in the history of the world to visit all 419 of our National Park Service sites in one continuous journey. And as was mentioned, I'm happy to say that about 2 months ago, I did finish that journey, hitting Site 419 as I climbed the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. And for a kid who grew up in Nebraska, who honestly thought that I might never even leave Nebraska, to know that I've now been to all 56 of our U.S. states and territories, every corner of our country, and every National Park Service site is an incredibly humbling feeling. It's also very humbling for a kid who grew up closeted in Nebraska to be able to take pictures with a rainbow flag in front of our most iconic National Park Service sites, to be able to do interviews and talk about being an openly gay man who loves the outdoors, who grew up without having that role model, and to be able to share this journey over social media and be gay all over the internet because of the work that people have done on my behalf for the past 50 years without me doing anything to deserve that. It was their own hard work that got us to this point. And so what this journey taught me is, while we have the National Archives that preserve America's most important documents, while we have the Smithsonian that preserves America's most important things, the National Park Service preserves our most important places. And the Stonewall Inn, Christopher Park, Stonewall National Monument is one of those places. And what makes that so incredible is that means that this place, this story, this community is part of our American story now.
Yes.
And to be able to include that as I travel around the country now, not visiting parks, but presenting about this parks journey and sharing this journey, as I talk about how we have sites that share our women's history, women's rights history, and our civil rights history, and our labor rights histories, that through this new designation in 2016, we now for the first time have a site that tells the story of the LGBT civil rights story in America. As I share that, I see people's faces light up. And I know, because they tell me afterwards, that they now feel like their lesbian daughter is part of the American story. Their bisexual brother is part of the American story. Or their transgender father is part of the American story. And so, as a gay man myself, as somebody who has been able to be a voice for this community of LGBT outdoors enthusiasts that wasn't really acknowledged before this journey, I just want to say thank you to those of you who have donated to support this place, Stonewall National Monument, and to the National Park Foundation for allowing this place to exist and continue to exist, because it's doing so many great things and can continue to do many great things with your continued support, so that we can preserve this place, so that 50 years from now, some little gay kid growing up in Nebraska can know that he is part of the American story.